All right, so I want to finish with 9/11 because this is very powerful. All right, saints tell us you'll be surprised at who is in heaven and who is not. Did you hear that? Saints tell us you'll be really surprised who's in heaven and who is not. Now, I think this is a little fascinating sidebar. Do you know why the terrorists picked September 11th? Do you think it was just a random day? Oh, no. It was very calculated. September the 11th was picked because it was the highest point of Islamic power in history. September the 11th, 1683. It was the height of Islamic power. They were on the verge of conquering all of Europe. And the next day, look on your screen, was a battle you've probably never heard of that saved the world. It's called the Battle of Vienna. Vienna, Austria. The next day, September the 12th, Islam's reign was over. Through the intercession of the Blessed Virgin Mary, who they prayed to, they were conquered on their attack of Vienna. After assuming that they would take Vienna, the Muslim Sultan said his next step, there's nothing stopping us to take St. Peter's. Once we take Vienna, there's nothing stopping us. World domination, the end of Christianity. The battle marked the end of the expansion of Islam in Europe. How? Because a little ragtag group of Christians defeated what to some say was up to 300,000 Muslims. And it was from this victory that we celebrate the holy name of Mary. The holy name of Mary. Why? Because no nation would step up except a little guy from Poland named Jan Sobieski. My dad declared him his new hero. My dad never even heard of him. We're learning all this garbage in schools. Never do we learn about who Jan Sobieski was. A Polish general who stepped up and entrusted the battle and led a cavalry from Poland in the name of Mary, shouting, Our Lady of Częstochowa. Can you imagine? What a battle cry. Our Lady of Częstochowa. And what happened? The Pope and the European leaders hailed Jan Sobieski as, quote, the savior of Western civilization. This is what they claimed happened. The day, September the 12th, 1683. Why did the Muslims choose September 11th? Because the day before they were at the height of their power, and they said, we are now going to return to the height of our power. September the 11th, 2001. Now, the day was commemorated in Vienna by creating a new pastry called a croissant. Let's look at our next slide. Here you have a picture of a croissant, circular shape, next to the Islamic flag, a circular shape with a star. Now, Marie Antoinette. Y'all hear? Isn't she the one that said, let us eat cake or let them eat cake or something? She introduced the croissant to France. Everybody thinks it's French. She brought it to France in 1770. She was born in Vienna. Marie Antoinette was not born in France. She was born in Vienna. The croissant is not French. It's from Vienna after the battle, because it was the conquering of the Islamic symbol of the semicircle. It was eaten along with coffee. Get a load of this, which they found in the abandoned tents of the Muslims. The Europeans had never tasted coffee. Not till 1683, and then they found coffee in the abandoned tents of the Turks. And Sobieski, the winner of the battle, found these bags of coffee beans, wondering how the Turks could fight day and night. They were living on caffeine. So he's wondering how the Turks could fight day and night. They could fight day and night because they were drinking this coffee. So this coffee These coffee beans actually came from Ethiopia, the one African country which remained Christian. So the Muslims called the infidels, the Christians, kafir. They called them kafir, which means infidel. And that's how we get the word coffee. Isn't that interesting? So Christian roots are everywhere. Legend has it that Pope Clement VIII was told to declare the coffee was the drink of the devil. And so he ready to declare it the drink of the devil because it came from the Islamics, the Muslims. And so they gave it to him. He says, declare this a drink of the devil. And he tasted it. And he said, the devil's drink is so good, we need to cheat the devil by baptizing it and making it our own. Isn't that the Catholic way? That's hilarious. So after the victory of Vienna, a Polish general opened the first coffee house. This is why Vienna is known as the world's greatest location of coffee. This is fascinating. Our Christian roots run so deep. Now it doesn't stop there. Mary keeps involved, but I only got a few minutes left. Thank you for your patience, everybody. I know you're getting antsy, but we only got just about a few minutes left. Let's look at our next slide. Later, Barbary pirates were attacking U.S. ships. Look at that scene there. Those are U.S. sailors being enslaved by Muslim pirates. And they were attacking U.S. ships and taking Americans as slaves. This is why, let's look at our next slide, Thomas Jefferson created the United States Marine Corps in 1775. My dad and his buddies, my dad's a Vietnam Marine, still celebrate the birthday of the Marine Corps at a pub in Philadelphia in 1775. Guess what the Marine Corps hymn is? From the halls of Montezuma to the shores of Tripoli, we will fight our country's battles on the air and in the air, in the land, and the sea. From the halls of Montezuma to the shores of Tripoli, that was protection of Islamic pirates. The shores of Tripoli. And so the United States even has a hand in this history. The ambassador to the United States, quote, said, because they said, stop attacking and enslaving our sailors. Thomas Jefferson, God bless him, we need more like Thomas Jefferson today, and yet we're writing him out of the history books. I get so upset with that, I got to go to confession. And so Thomas Jefferson's being written out of the history books, and he had had enough when the ambassador, the Islamic ambassador said, quote, it is written in the Quran. This is what he told the United States, that all nations who don't acknowledge our authority are sinners. That is our right and duty to make war upon them, whoever they could be, wherever they could be found, and to make slaves of them all that we can take as prisoners. So they justified taking the United States sailors as slaves, and Thomas Jefferson said, that's it. And he founded the United States Marine Corps. God bless all of you who have served for justice and the protection of freedom. So what happened? Mary doesn't stop. At the break, I told everybody here that Mary is so into this that she even appeared on television. What are you talking about, Father? 1968. Mary appeared in Zaytun, Egypt, hovering above St. Mark's Coptic Church. She was there. 1968, especially at night, everybody could see her. It wasn't just visionaries, like a few people at Fatima, a few children, or Medjugorje. The church that she appeared on is believed to be the same place that Mary and Joseph and Jesus stopped at their flight into Egypt. This church is dedicated to the Holy Family. And the reason this church is dedicated to the Holy Family is because, again, they believe Mary, Joseph, and Jesus went there and rested during their stay in Egypt. That's why they built this church to the Holy Family. And this is where Mary appeared on the church. So let's look at our next slide. I'm sorry, I'm going to try to show everybody here if I can show it. I don't know if everybody here, but on our screen, if they all can see, that's actually, I don't know if you all can see it, but it'll be on our website tonight on my talk on this on YouTube. But you can see Mary very clearly appearing on the top of this church. Now, what's fascinating is Christians, Jews, Muslims, they all saw her, even unbelievers. Even unbelievers saw her. She was up there, and it was broadcast on television. Why are we not learning this? Why are we not being told this even in our own church? How many people have heard a homily on this? How many people have heard a bishop talk about this? All I've heard some bishops say is that we got to capitulate and we have to stop our Christian ways. No, we don't. We have to live the gospel. And Mary's going to help us do that if we live virtuously. So an estimated 40 million people saw her. 40 million. And the apparition was approved by the Orthodox Pope, because this was over an Orthodox church. So unlike other apparitions, it was not just visionaries, but everyone saw her. This is fascinating.